can start to die. And when we start to feel low, we start to feel, I don't like this. What's that word they've coined, that phrase they've coined? When you feel down, we've got to go get ourselves some retail therapy. You know what's happening there? We're trying to fill a hole in here somehow with something, so that we can take away the worthless feeling that we have. Nothing wrong with owning things, but don't identify to the point where you say, I am what I have. This is not who you are. This is another life of the enemy. Well, the third one goes like this. I am what... There's a clue up there. I am what others say about me. You ever had someone say something to you and it just stuck there? You couldn't shake it? Sometimes these things stick with us for years. And they begin to characterize who we are. We become afraid of what people will think. I can't do that. This is what they think of me. They think I'm a failure. They think I'm no good. They think I'm worthless. And you begin to characterize yourself by what people have said about you, what people think of you. My friends, you are not what others say about you. If you were to evaluate Jesus Christ this way, who was he? If we took the principles of this world, we are what we have, we are what we do, and we are what people say about us. Who was he? What did he do? He was a carpenter and a teacher. What did he have? Nothing. And what did people think of him in the end? They stuck him on the cross. So if Jesus was evaluated by these three things, he was a nobody. Much. Someone who walked the planet, did his thing, and died a terrible death. But let me ask you, who is he? Who is he? Yeah. And who is Jesus? He's the Messiah. He's the Son of God. Isn't that who he is? He's the Son of God. Most of us can believe that Jesus is the Son of God. And that's pretty clear, most of us here. But let me ask the question, who are you? Are you what you do? Are you what you have? Are you what people think of you? I know you can't answer this here today, but think about these things over the coming days and weeks and years. Who am I? How do I characterize who I am? John chapter 1 and verse 10 is where we're going next. We taught on this week. John chapter 1 and verse 10. I want to show you in the Bible who you really are. Those of you with seminar Bibles, it's page 748. The question is, who are you? John chapter 1 and verse 10. John chapter 1 verse 10. It says, He, that's Jesus, was in the world. And though the world was made through him, the world did not recognize him. But he came to that which was his own, the Jews, but his own did not receive him. Verse 12. I want you to read it with me. Let's read this out. Yet to all who received him, to those who believed in his name, he gave the right to become the children of God. Let me ask you again, who is Jesus? Son of God. Have you received Jesus? If you've received Jesus, who are you? You are daughters and sons of God. Look at the next slide, verse 13. Let's read it together. Children born not of natural descent, nor of human decision, or of a husband's will, but born of God. Your identity, the moment you become a Christian, your identity changes. And you are no longer who you were. You are no longer what you do. You are no longer what you have. You no longer have to compete with others in the world on the basis of all these three things. You become a child of God. And what's so special about being a child of God? What's special about it is who He is. And when you know who He is, suddenly you begin to work out who you are because you're His child. It was great to see Dad and the family up here. Thank you for leading us in worship. It must be a wonderful thing to have your children with you. And your children gain their identity from you. We as Christians gain our new identities Father in heaven. Look at 1 John chapter 3, verse 1. How great is the love that the Father has lavished on us, that we should be called children of God. What's the last bit say? And that is what you are. My friends, I want to tell you, you are a child of God the moment you receive Christ. Let's talk about the sad side of this discussion. There are too many Christians walking through life downcast. They walk through life with a whole anxious thing going on. A whole failure hanging on their head. A whole belief that they're not tall enough, beautiful enough, thin enough, large enough, rich enough, whatever. They don't think they have enough to be a Christian. And they go through life wondering, oh, am I ever going to make it to Him? Does God really love me? My friends, if you would only let the words of God sink deep into the foundations of your soul, that you let the Spirit plant them in here and realize who you are. Too many Christians, they don't realize who they are. And they go through life living by sight. They look at what they're doing, and if it's good, they think I'm good. And if it suddenly falls in a heap and they lose their job, oh, nobody. Or what they have, or when people say stuff about them. My friends, there's always going to be somebody saying something about you that you don't like. So let's get over it. That is not who you are. You are a child of the King. That is who you are. Let me ask you again, who are you? I want you to answer it for yourself now. Who are you? Don't be fearful, fretful, anxious Christians. Those words are belonging to who you were. They are not part of your new vocabulary. Who are you? What is your identity? What voices are you listening to? Do you ever find yourself saying, I'm so stupid. I'm a failure. I'm a fraud. Do you ever look in the mirror and say to yourself, man, I'm just so ugly? Some may be shaking your head vigorously. Maybe it's not a good thing. This is not who you are. These things are all to do with living by sight. The Christian is called to live by faith. To live by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God. So let me ask you, those words, are they the voice of the Almighty, do you think? Do you think that God is telling you, stupid, idiot, failure, fraud, ugly, you can't? Or are they the voice of someone else? When I get home every day in New Zealand, I don't know if it's just New Zealand. I wasn't old enough to have my own letterbox when I lived in Australia. But there in the mailbox is waiting for me about 3 kilograms of junk mail. You find that here? And it piles up in the kitchen until we finally got a box that we can recycle and feel good about that. Satan does the same thing. He is loading your inbox with junk mail. And you can choose whether to read it or discard it. And my friends, you must choose if you're a believer. You must choose to discard that, because if you begin reading it, you're an idiot, you're a failure, you're a fraud, you'll never make it. You're too this, you're too that, you don't have enough of this. People will laugh at you. You know what's going to happen? You will start to believe that that is who you are. My friends, these are lies from the enemy. Ephesians chapter 6, turn with me there. Ephesians chapter 6, it's a little book in the New Testament. It says Galatians, Ephesians, Philippians. Find one of those and you've got Ephesians. Someone give us a page number. 829. Ephesians chapter 6. And we're going to read verse 10 and 11. And again, let the Holy Spirit take these words past your ears into your heart. Finally, be strong in the Lord and in His mighty power. Be strong in who? That's where your strength comes from as a Christian. Be strong in the Lord. Put on the full armour of God so that you can take your stand against what? What does it say? Against the devil? Against his schemes. Friends, we are unmasking one of the schemes that the devil uses. Because